Sometimes the night shift can be boring. Maybe you can take a nap, or sometimes you gotta deal with really creepy people. Tonight on the Infiltrator's Scary Stories, we take a look at stories from those who work the night shift. And just to let you know, this is a compilation, but hey, go ahead and subscribe to us on YouTube at youtube.com/The Infiltrators1. That's youtube.com/The Infiltrators #1.
I was addicted to heroin, but I went into Synanon on October 1st, 1972, and that was the last day I've ever used drugs.
You're probably wondering, what exactly is Synanon? And I guess it really all depends on who you ask. To many people, it was a religion. To others, it was a revolution. But almost everyone will tell you that what it became was a violent cult.
We never start anything, but nobody is going to mess with us. Nobody.
This is the story of Synanon, in a way it's never been told. From the inside out. Listen to The Sunshine Place, a creation and presentation of C13 Originals, a Cadence 13 studio, executive produced with Susan Downey and Robert Downey Jr., available for free on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Unsolved Mysteries, the iconic television series, is now a podcast. All new mysteries of terrifying abductions, bizarre paranormal encounters, heinous killers, and unexplained deaths. Unsolved Mysteries is available now for free on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
Number 1. I was working at a middle school as a night shift custodian. I cleaned a long U-shaped wing hall full of classrooms every weeknight. I'd already locked up one set of doors to the wing and was about to lock the ones at the other end of the U. I made the full lap around the wing. I'd been cleaning there all night alone and came to the end of the hallway where the doors to the rest of the school were. When I shut off the lights, a dark silhouette of what looked like a child ran from across the end of the hallway from the left to the right. There were doors down there, but I'd just locked up all of them and no one was around. I was so creeped out. I locked the doors connecting the wing to the rest of the school and ran to my car. I always felt like I was seeing things out of the corner of my eye, working there at night. But that was the most visible, for sure thing I had ever seen. Number 2. This happened when I worked in a hotel right out of high school. I did overnight shifts in the laundry room, but I would help the front desk run invoices to the rooms sometimes. I was on the 3rd floor at 2 a.m. when I bent down to the side to slide an invoice under a door, and a pan flew past my face and hit the door. I didn't keep pens on me, and I checked out the hallway, and it was silent. You know, hotel doors, they're heavy and you can hear people open and close them. I am 100% positive I heard nothing. When I went downstairs, I asked my coworkers if they saw anything, but they said they weren't paying attention to the security screen. I really freaked out. Number 3. I used to work at a bowling alley. I had finished closing and I had just turned off all the lights and was about to leave. Suddenly, one of the lanes turned on. The only way they turn on is a switch in the back. So, I turned on the lane lights and started walking back to turn it off. I was just about to go behind the lanes past the curtain when it shut off again. we didn't have cameras there. But I really wish we did, because my boss didn't believe me. Number 4. I used to be an executive director for a family science museum. We once hosted a human cadaver type exhibit, similar to Body Worlds, 3 times during the exhibit run. In the middle of the night, the alarm company called to say there were motion sensors going off in the exhibit hall, but no exterior window or door sensors were tripped. 3 times I had to get out of bed, drive to the museum, and walk to the exhibit floor amongst the post-cadavers and specimens with a flashlight to confirm all was well. I never found anything.
The official Unsolved Mysteries podcast is back for a new season of original episodes with more disturbing and puzzling cases.
It's just pure evil.
Even more heinous crimes and bizarre stories that continue to defy explanation.
She laid down on the grave and she started getting information.
Listen to Season 2 of Unsolved Mysteries, available now for free wherever you listen to your podcasts.
It seemed exactly like the movies, and it was horrific.
I was addicted to heroin, but I went into Synanon on October 1st, 1972, and that was the last day I've ever used drugs.
You're probably wondering, what exactly is Synanon? And I guess it really all depends on who you ask. To many people, it was a religion. To others, it was a revolution. But almost everyone will tell you that what it became was a violent cult.
We never start anything, but nobody is going to mess with us. Nobody.
This is the story of Synanon, in a way it's never been told. From the inside out. Listen to The Sunshine Place, a creation and presentation of C13 Originals, a Cadence 13 studio. Executive produced with Susan Downey and Robert Downey Jr. Available for free on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
I was a transporter in a hospital. About 2 years ago, we moved from the old city hospital into a new state-of-the-art facility. The old hospital was built in the 1930s and was showing its age, and at night was just plain creepy. Each floor had an east and west wing. The east wing of the 4th floor was the first wing to be shut down about 2 weeks before we moved. One night, at around 9:30, I'm up on the 3rd floor to get a patient from the west wing. I see a small group of nurses and aides who all used to work on the new, closed east wing. They looked visibly shaken. I walked over to see if everything was okay. They told me that they had decided to walk through their old wing for nostalgia's sake. When they were over there, the phone at the nurse's station started ringing. The computers and phones had not been moved yet. Not sure what to do, one of the nurses reached over the counter and answered the phone. The nurse told me there was a woman's voice on the other end and that she sounded confused. This is the conversation, as best as I can remember it.
This is Mandy, how can I help you?
Asked the nurse.
Hello? Who is this? This is Mandy, I'm a nurse. Is there anything I can help you with? Where am I? This is the hospital. Are you a patient here? Oh, okay.
And then the line went dead. That's when the nurses finally looked at the screen on the phone to see where the call was coming from. The phone gave the room number directly next to the nurse's station. The rooms by this point had all been cleared out, and the phones were removed. They could see directly into the room and see that there was nobody in there. That's when they bolted toward the west wing, where I was getting off the elevator. I avoided that ring for the rest of my time there. I had just graduated high school. I started working at a truck stop a few miles outside of town. I usually worked evenings, but I had to switch shifts that night with some guy. So, there I was, at 3 a.m., fighting sleep. Car pulls into the parking lot and parks. There's a guy in the driver's seat, crying. And a woman in the passenger seat just staring straight forward, not moving. No emotion whatsoever. They sat there for what seemed like an hour. Then the guy gets out and comes in, grabs a few random items and puts them on the counter. The whole time he's looking around, checking for other people. There was no one but us for miles. He then stares right into my very soul and says,
"It's quiet out there, isn't it? So quiet you can almost hear the angels singing."
I muttered something unmemorable and he left. She still never moved. A few days later, the police came in wanting to look at the security footage from that night. Turns out he had killed his girlfriend and he didn't know what to do with the body, so he dumped her in the river. And I don't know what all happened, but I understand he's in prison now. That was the worst experience I had ever had. Most of the time, nobody ever came in, but this time, it was different. Around 12 years ago, I was working security at a small company's headquarters in New York City. My partner for the night had called in sick, so I had to work from 12 to 6, all by myself. Now, normally this wouldn't be a problem. I just had to sit in the back room, watch some security cameras, and occasionally head out for a sweep. Nothing to it, right? Well, as it turns out, one of the employees had stayed in the building after hours. I had managed to avoid my coworker's sweep from the previous shift. First noticed a movement in my peripheral vision on one of the security cameras. And then, again, a few minutes later. This was odd because I was used to quiet nights in this particular building. Now, I was a little scared when I head out for my sweep. But, that's my job, so I grabbed my flashlight and headed out to begin. I had to start the sweep in one big hallway. And right as I entered, I saw a flash of something, and it was right at the end of the hallway. At this point, I was sufficiently freaked out. I stood frozen for a minute or so, looking into the semi-darkness, unsure of what to do. The decision was taken out of my hands, however, as I heard a gunshot resound down the hallway. And what was the scariest moment of my life, slowly walked down that hallway to investigate. I reached the end and I saw to my left that the president's office light was on. Slowly, I approached the door and creaked it open. Scared shitless. What I saw will forever haunt me. The man had taken a seat in the president's chair and shot himself. In any case, I threw up a few times and then I called the police. I got the next 2 weeks off. Well, I know compilations probably aren't your favorite, but hey, you know, it saves time, and they usually do really well on podcasts and then also on YouTube. Hey, while you're at it, you can subscribe to the podcast. Go ahead and do that. Leave us a great review on Apple Podcasts. It helps us go to the top of the rankings. And also subscribe to us on YouTube at youtube.com/The Infiltrators 1. That's youtube.com/The Infiltrators, the number 1. And don't forget to join us next week where we'll have a full brand new episode of The Infiltrators. Scary Stories.
Unsolved Mysteries, the iconic television series, is now a podcast. All new mysteries of terrifying abductions, bizarre paranormal encounters, heinous killers, and unexplained deaths. Unsolved Mysteries is available now for free on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.